From Learfield. This is the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance, the American Dairy Association Mideast, and by Credit Union of Ohio on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics. Now, along with Coach Jake Diebler and former Ohio State captain Ron Stokes, here's the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels.
Thanks for joining us for our weekly Monday show with Ohio State basketball coach Jake Diebler. The Buckeyes are back at home after yesterday's 79-71 loss in Lincoln to the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Again, Jake, another one of those games where there were snatches of it that really were some very, very good play by your basketball team.
Yeah, there was. We just, we didn't get enough stops down the stretch, and then, there was a portion of the second half where offensively, we weren't able to put the ball in the basket like we needed to. So on the road, right, it's not forgiving. So when you have moments like that, especially there in the second half of the second half, it puts you in a spot where you're now playing to try to catch up in that last segment like we were.
Yeah, we asked that question after the game. I know it's tough when you got so much going on. You had a chance to look at the film right around the 13-minute mark. It's 48-45. Don't score for almost 5 minutes. Was it the possession solid, poor ball handling? What went into them being able to stop your team for that length of time?
Ron, I think we settled for jump shots a little too much. Now, when we were in the paint, we were just in general, we were too inefficient, especially kind of from our forwards. We were too inefficient in the paint. We needed to be more efficient. We needed to be able to, when you're missing a couple jump shots, like settle your offense. And that's where Devin Royal's been really good for us. So him not being himself and ultimately not playing as much as he normally would impacted us. In that moment, we got to figure out how to still play through the paint. I felt like there were some possessions where we settled too quickly for perimeter jump shots and didn't test the paint enough to try and get a better look or get to the free throw line, which can help in those stretches too.
When you think about how the game started and how John Mobley started, was that something that was a positive?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, felt like it was just a matter of time before he had kind of one of those games where he would hit multiple threes, and I think it's, we can expect him to continue to do that as the year continues. So it was great to see. I liked our aggressiveness. I thought, offensively we played a really good half against a unique defense with their scheming. We had a really good attack. Missed some shots in the second half that we were making in the first half, certainly, and I thought offensively one of our issues, we didn't rebound the ball as well. We didn't go to the offensive glass as well. Certainly Devin, again, who's been our best offensive rebounder, him being out played a role. He had 2 of them, I think, of the ones when he wasn't there. So that was part of it, and part of the offensive attack for us is getting on the offensive glass.
Coach, when you look at what Coach Holberg has done in his short time there as a coach, tough couple of years, and now here he is. He's brought in some really good players. We talked about Bryce Williams. But what's the brand of basketball that you've seen it has evolved to and morphed to in terms of how good they've been?
Well, I think they've established a defensive identity where they like to keep the ball on the sides, funnel it into crowds in the paint. And, a lot of times when you establish that defensive scheme and you have guys who are able to be in your system for multiple years, it helps, right? And we're seeing that with some of the guys on their team, Gary Williams, Fred's son. Like, they got some guys now who have been there, and that's the value of retention. And then offensively, they're not the same team they were last year. Obviously Tominaga was a huge part of what they did, but they're going to play, with a lot of movement and spacing. But, I thought for them, their attack of the paint with Williams and Gary was really that ultimately was the difference. They were able to get more paint finishes and kind of easier looks in the paint and get to the free throw line than we were. Like, we lost the battle in the paint, and that ultimately was the difference of the game. After
a couple of games that weren't at the level that he set, what was the difference with Micah Parrish yesterday?
Well, I think, he was aggressive, which he needs to be for us. but he got, he was playing with a great deal of confidence. And when you're playing, you make a couple shots, and that rim seems to expand somehow, some way, a little bit more and more. And we felt like I said, I felt like we had a great plan going into this game because of the unique defensive scheme. And so we were able to anticipate where some of these shots were going to come from. And, he and Junie, I thought, really took advantage of that, and that's why we were able to get going offensively like we were.
You lose Devin Rowe, and he brings so much in terms of attacking the basket, offensive rebounds. One of the things that doesn't happen as much as you see in the NBA, but when guys pick up 2 fouls, the teams will go to them directly multiple times to pick up that third. Like I remember early in the first half, one of their top players goes down. Gary goes with 2 fouls, then he starts the second half. How does that potentially factor in with your sets? Like, do you go directly, or do you feel that kind of compromise your scheme by trying to go right at a player? What's your philosophy on that?
I do believe that you can target guys. It was part of our game plan in the Maryland game with Gillespie. We felt like, against some teams that maybe don't go to their bench as much, right? You want to try to put pressure on their best offensive players, and you need to do it within reason. You don't want to play for fouls, right? But you want to at least put some pressure on them. And they took Gary out. I think in the first half he only played maybe 9 minutes roughly, because we going into this game felt like Williams obviously, but Gary was a real, had the chance to be a huge X factor in the game. And we wanted both those guys to have to guard us too. And so that's part of, you think about that, certainly think about it in the flow. You see a guy staying out there in the first half with 2 fouls. Hey, let's get him involved in the action, because if he picks up a third foul, great, but he's probably going to be a little less likely to be aggressive defensively because he has 2. So we're monitoring that, absolutely, and we'll call actions to target guys.
I know that in the beginning of the second half, Rowe actually went right at him, but he did a pretty good job. He blocked the shot. Could have been called a foul.
Well, we won't go there.
It could have been called a foul.
We're not going to go there.
But then Rowe, again, it goes back to my point. He wasn't out there to be that guy to just be another threat to go against Gary.
Well, I think, Devin, and again, Evan Mahaffey stepped up last couple games, had some good games. We needed just that collective, and I keep referring to our forwards as kind of like a collective unit. We needed more in this game from them, and specifically on the offensive glass. I think finishing around the rim and offensive glass were just 2 areas we weren't as good as we've been from that unit. And so, certainly we miss Devin. I think we miss his finishing, but his ability to get to the free throw line, he's second on our team in free throw attempts. But hey, that's basketball, right? Like sometimes that happens, and you need guys to step up. And I thought Evan Mahaffey did a good job in kind of an expanded role in that game, and that was encouraging because that could be really beneficial for us, moving forward.
If you have a question for Coach Diebler, you can submit it to our Union Home Mortgage inbox at ohiostatebuckeyes.com and click on Coach's Show inbox, Union Home Mortgage. Learn about their 1% down payment program at uhm.com, NMLS number 2229. And we'll have more of today's show presented by Roosters coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready?
It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right. Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. From biking to bench presses, Milk's protein helps you build lean muscle and gain more from your workouts.
Ready? Recover. Repeat. Brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Cheers to a great day and this ice-cold Corona.
You know what would make this day even better? My grandma's carne asada.
Or your grandma here with us, making carne asada.
She does love a cold Corona.
Throw in some dancing.
We can watch the game.
I'll drink to that.
So a backyard concert with football, food, dancing, and Corona?
And your grandma.
Or we could keep it simple.
Simple is good. Want a Corona?
Thanks. Salud to the perfect day.
Corona, la vida más fina. Get your Corona at ordercorona.com. Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. Growing up in the family business, I've seen firsthand the joy and love that comes with finding the perfect engagement ring. For over 77 years, our family's been dedicated to providing the best quality, unmatched selection, and the guaranteed best price. From timeless classics to custom designs, we have the perfect ring for every love story. Let our family help you celebrate the moments that mean the most. Visit Diamond Cellar today on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. You're listening to the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network. Presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back to our show this week. Time for our Elk and Elk injury report. You've referenced Evan Royal a couple times already, Jake. Is it too early in a week to kind of have a status update on him right now?
It's too early to, have a full feel of what the rest of the week is going to look like. But he's in there getting treatment today, and it'll be a kind of a day by day thing.
Well, you didn't get a chance. At least I didn't get a chance to see the injury. I know that one of the players fell on
top. Yeah.
But what exactly was it? The ankle?
I think it was lower leg. Fell on his lower leg. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Our injury report brought to you by Elk and Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Let's not focus just on the Nebraska game. Let's focus on last week's game with Maryland. And you talked immediately after the game about how your team showed heart to be able to come back and pull that one out.
Yeah, I think I've been really proud of just how tough and together that this team has been. And it took every bit of that game, because offensively we struggled in the first half. So we dug ourselves a little bit of a hole there. But, in a lot of these games, and I think what's the sign of a connected and mature team is when maybe shots aren't going in, are you still able to maintain that toughness and that togetherness? And I think we've done that pretty well. So that was a fun game. Certainly exciting. We tend to make them really exciting. This year, so a little more than usual, but no, I was happy we were able to, I think, certainly learn and grow from a win and a close one like that, where toughness just was like the theme of getting us to where we needed to go.
Yeah, I thought the crowd was great as well.
Yeah, it was. It's so impactful. I mean, how great was that crowd last night? I mean, it's so impactful.
Sunday afternoon in Nebraska,
and it was packed and loud, and so I think, we've felt our crowd at home and how it's helped us. It helped us in the Maryland game, certainly. And, we need it. We need it Wednesday night. We need it, here in this 3-game home stretch. It's going to be really important. I believe it can make a difference. I really do.
When you talk about what went well in the Maryland game and toughness and togetherness, is a lot of that applied to the defensive elements?
Yeah. I thought we tightened our defense. Now, listen, it felt in real time, I remember at halftime saying, like, man, we gave them too many easy looks. And then you went back and watched, and they made some tough pull-up jumpers, long twos, where you're going to say, okay, like, we would live with those. But obviously, I didn't want to live with them in that moment. But I thought the difference was we stayed with that, going into the second half, and they still took some of those and kind of the law percentages, I guess you would say, and we contested a little better on some of them. Certainly we adjusted our ball screen coverage at times because they were hurting us in the short roll with, they're too big. So we've done. Our guys deserve a lot of credit. They've handled adjustments coming out of halftime really well this year. We got to continue to grow. I think some of it's our inexperience in youth. We got to be able to adjust out of timeouts and on the fly. Like last game, we threw some zone out there, so I thought our guys handled that well. Mm-hmm. Some changing defenses, kind of in the spur thing. So we're growing in that area, which is good to see because that gives you as a coach, right? It kind of opens up the toolbox to be able to use because you're always trying to, at least I am. I'm always trying to figure out, okay, don't want to give our guys too much different stuff to where they're now maybe just a half second slow because they're overthinking. You want it to be instinctual. You want them to react, right? Like read and react, but like being able to scheme and mix it up, that stuff's important.
Coach, when I look at this front line of Maryland, this Reese and Queen, they're very, very effective and they're unselfish as well. But when you look at Evan Mahaffey, I think it speaks to his versatility to be able to compete with guys while he's undersized.
Yeah, he had a couple big-time defensive possessions. I go back, I thought a big play was the end of the half where they had an isolation with Queen kind of right there above the free throw line. And with their ability to shoot, we weren't going to be able to provide too much support. Queen's a good passer. And Evan he just had a great individual defensive possession. And that's what he's capable of. And he and I had a conversation before the Maryland game and, certainly talked about, I think what he could do to really impact this team. And I thought we saw that in the Maryland game. I also thought that carried over in the Nebraska game. He did a good job. Out there with his minutes. So that's kind of a guy who, if he can continue to emerge, it helps us. It can help us on the offensive glass and on the defensive side.
Does that involve guarding multiple positions from him?
Yeah, he gives you, as a coach, we talk about schemes. Right now you got some even more kind of versatility to work with. You could, whether it's switching or different ball screen coverages, because he can do both. And Evan's really a smart player. He's certainly got some experience for us. One of our more experienced guys too. So, but his basketball IQ is good as well.
Yeah, I know a lot of basketball to be played, but this summer, again, is going to be so important for him because you talk about the defense, the versatility, but with his length and his ability to put the ball on the floor, I just think he could evolve to be a solid guy that can get to the basket, develop a short-range jump shot, and help your offense.
Yeah, well, we need him to. We need him to because, you got to be – you need to be threatening. And threatening within your strengths. I think that's a big thing. I think he's got to improve in his cutting because he's being guarded with a lot of space out there. So cutting is a way to negate that. I think, to your point, driving and finishing with force and creativity around the rim and confidence. He's a better free throw shooter than he's shooting. There's no question in my mind. It's, got to be confident there. But I think a lot of it is certainly – you want guys. The summer is for expanding your game, but it's also for sharpening, right, in your strengths. And so that's kind of a big way we approach, the off season. But right now, I mean, listen, he can be really impactful for us. There's no question about it. He's got to continue to approach it the way he's approached these last handful of days.
We'll start into our Union Home Mortgage inbox list of questions. This comes from Drexler in Wapakoneta. Up to that part of the state.
I know where that's at.
Yes, you do. What are teams doing defensively that force the offense to seem to stop and just dribble at certain times?
Yeah. It's interesting. So what we're seeing in some games is teams are guarding us tighter on the perimeter, right? And making it harder for us to reverse the ball from side to side and putting us in more one-on-one, or if we're in ball screens 2-on-2, kind of guarding ball screens 2-on-2 at times. So that's one way. Another way teams are guarding us is, they're committing two guys to the ball screen. We saw that some, last night. And that you got to get the ball out of there quicker. We got to, and then when you get the ball out of there quicker, oftentimes that one more pass is where you can get a better look. But that's kind of what we're seeing. for example, Illinois basically said, hey, we are going to pressure on the perimeter and kind of force you, into driving lanes and force you into, the mid-range. But we don't want you to freely, reverse it. We don't want you to we're not going to be gapped up as much. So when teams are gapped up, ball moves easier and quicker. And then, for us, like a big thing for us, and we've grown in this a lot, is when the ball is driven, what is everybody else doing? I've talked about this in regards to turnovers, right? Oftentimes it's like, Ron, you drive into paint, turnovers on you, and everybody wants to say, like, okay, it's on you, Ron, why'd you turn it over? Well, I'm also looking, what is everybody else doing? And the movement off of penetration, and sometimes it takes a double cut, right? And I think watching is when my defender turns his head to look at the ball, boom, now am I cutting? Like we've gotten better at that, and we got to keep getting better at that. But it's different, that's not a concept that a lot of guys come in with. So that's a lot. I know there's a lot there to answer that, but we're seeing some different things.
Yeah, when we say the word feel for the game, that's one of the things when a player just having to feel like you see the defense do one thing and then you react to it. And yeah, you coach it, but there's still some, as a player, you just got to feel and do certain things that are basketball plays.
Yeah, and you can, right, you script it with sets, right? But sets get scouted and how many sets can you add each game? Like there's all this kind of behind the scenes stuff, and so then it becomes okay. Well, after the set, because a lot of times, right, you can run a set action and put you get you a long closeout or get you a good look, but once you attack that closeout, get the paint. Now what? Right. Now what are you doing? And now we kind of refer to that as the play after the play. And then spacing becomes critical, and that's a lot to think about and go into a short, less than 30-second possession, right?
And when you think about it, Coach, at this juncture, there's the technology nowadays. I watch you guys, how you break down tape and prepare for the opposition. It's hard to surprise teams now. They know your offense just as well as you do.
Yeah, it is. And also I think that's why you want to continue to put guys in position where they're comfortable and confident, right? That's important. But you need to be creative too. I think there's certainly an element of creativity that's necessary, but it's the access to film and everything, yes, but I think also just the coaching in this league, and it's been that way. Like, this has always been one of the premier leagues in that regard. So presents for a big time challenge. But again, I thought our guys executed well. Like we opened the game and executed a play we had never run. And it was a draw up designed specifically for that game, and we came out and executed well, right? So we're showing growth in that regard, being able to execute that stuff.
The Roosters Foundation helps raise over $1 million each year for local charities and organizations and is the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes. The Roosters Foundation is donating $25 for every foul shot the Buckeyes make at home this season to BAM, Beyond Ability Matters. BAM provides kids and young adults with neurological disabilities the opportunity to live their best lives. More with Coach Diebler when we continue with our weekly show presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelight.com. Safelight Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelight Repair, Safelight Replace.
Life is more fun with a pal. So is pizza. So check out Donato's new $5 Pizza Pals menu. Order any large pizza and add on your choice of a sub, salad, wings, a 10-inch pizza, and more for just $5. It's the new $5 Pizza Pals menu from Donato's. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
Every game, every season, Buckeye Nation comes together to support Ohio State basketball. The Buckeyes make their fans proud by giving it their all on the court. Their hard work, determination, and resilience embody what our state is all about. Every client, every day, Elk & Elk works tirelessly to support the great people of Ohio. A consistent winner in the courtroom, we get injury victims the compensation they deserve. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Giant Eagle is teaming up with Cheez-It, Pringles, and Coca-Cola to give one lucky Buckeye fan a VIP basketball experience. Go to ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Giant Eagle to enter for a chance to win 4 tickets with parking to the March 4th home finale against Nebraska, a Buckeye prize pack, a $200 Giant Eagle gift card, and a trip to the head coach's radio show. Enter today at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Giant Eagle for a chance to win. Brought to you by Giant Eagle, Cheez-It, Pringles, and Coca-Cola. Go Bucks!
Your Ohio State flagship station, The Fan. Now back to the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network. Presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Union Home Mortgage is the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Learn about their 1% down payment program at UHM.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS number 2229. And welcome back to this week's show with Ohio State coach Jake Diebler. You were talking before the last break about what teams are trying to do to keep you from reversing the ball. I mean, all of us, all the way back to grade school, are told how dangerous cross-court passes are. But is there a place for them when you deal with things like that?
Well, I'd tell people don't do that against Sean Stewart because he's got pretty good.
Isn't that the truth?
Taking those, but you know, I think some of it is right. You got to make quick decisions, and when the ball's moved, a lot of times you see guys immediately dribble, right, and that can slow down the ball changing sides. There's a lot, right, that goes into it. So I think the biggest thing is we talk a lot about ball and body movement. Ball and body movement, not just body movement too, because, sometimes ball's reversed and that guy's got to lift a little bit out of the corner to be available for the one more. Whereas if he's too deep and doesn't shift up the floor another 6 to 8 feet, so there's a lot that goes into it. And I think, there's times where we maybe take one dribble too many to make a decision. And that can, now the team, you may have had the team in rotation, now they get a chance to settle back in. So there's a lot that goes there that we are constantly watching and learning and growing from.
There's a lot of chemistry that I'm seeing develop here. At the beginning of the year, John Mobley was coming off the bench. Now he's a starter, but he's handling the ball more now than he did early on. But just seeing the plays and sets, how he and Bruce are just feeding off each other, you got to be very pleased with that.
Yeah, I think those two are really, it's such a fun backcourt to coach because they're talented. There's shot making, there's play making, there's and they compete. They're competitive guys, and just got great relationships with both of them too, which is fun. But I love coaching those guys. But I do think I agree with you, Ryan. I think we have a great. We talked about. I said this, even back in the summer and November and December, that a lot of it was for us. The chemistry off the court was that was. I was worried about it, and I told our guys this, but day one was really good. Then it was okay on the court chemistry, right? And that there was no, like, we do everything we can to speed that up, but that just takes time, and especially in a year where everything is new, that makes it even a little bit slower. So I think we've really started to see in the last 6 weeks an improvement in that between the lines, guys kind of trusting each other maybe just a little bit more, and I think it's been great, and it's been a big part of why we've won a handful of these games here in the last 6 weeks.
Can that chemistry be part of when you take Bruce off the ball and you have John Mobley handling it that allows them to maximize what they're doing out there?
Yeah, I think in having multiple decision makers and playmakers makes you harder to guard, right? It helps a guy like Bruce, who, now listen, there's been times where some of these games teams have said, hey, we're going to allow you to play this ball screen 2-on-2, and we're going to not let some of these other guys be available, and Bruce has taken advantage of that at times, So sometimes it's less playmaking for other people, and John's done the same thing. But I think having multiple decision makers and ball handlers, especially in the bulk of the game where the set has ended and now you got to go find a way to score, right? Or you're in transition, okay, and it's not scripted, and you got to be able to read that situation well. That's where the multiple ball handlers and decision makers become really important.
Yeah, you made a comment earlier about cross court passes and Sean Stewart and his anticipation. I got to believe that has a lot to do with him just playing more, being more comfortable out on the floor.
No, that's a play call, Ron. That's a hey, Sean, now's the time to go steal and get it done. Yeah. No, he's got great instincts. And he plays, he plays when he is really dialed in. And when I say dialed in, just like consumed with kind of, impact and how can he impact winning, he's really impactful because, he's active, he plays hard, he plays tough, and he comes up with plays like that, and he gets an extra possession on the offensive glass, or he catches that ball and drives it and scores, or, hits it. Like he's had some really good moments and really good stretches. But yeah, his ability to read and anticipate, is certainly some God-given ability with his athleticism at his size. But it's also knowing the scouting report and being able to anticipate. And I think it speaks to, the work he puts in.
And he's also a shot blocker. I mean, the play late against Purdue, he gets that block and he doesn't foul.
Yeah,
and it was a big time play.
Yeah, he's had some really big defensive possessions. And we still got to get him to foul less.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes that's a product of his motor, and he plays hard. But he's just, a lot of times a guy like him who's playing really hard, if you're late because you're playing so hard, you end up putting yourself in a bad situation for a foul. But no, he's done some really good things for us, and I think there's there's room for him to even take it to another level here down the stretch.
Mike in Westerville, the next of our Union Home Mortgage inbox questions, has taking a charge become sort of a lost art in college basketball? And how much do you encourage your players to do so?
Yeah, well, Mike, as someone who thrived on taking charges in when I played, it has changed. It has changed. I think officials are reluctant to call the charges that they maybe even as early as last season that they would have called. Like there was almost like a correction in some of these 50-50 calls that you hear referred to. They're no longer 50-50. Like that's almost always going to be a block now. And but I think what you are seeing is there's still opportunity to take charges. When in the post, there's still opportunity to take some charges when you're the primary defender. And guys are pushing off and things. So we talk about that. Like if there's something we see in scouting, we say, hey, here, you may be like, this guy loves to drive this direction. And if you can position yourself right, that's an opportunity for a charge. So we do talk about that. But it is, I guess you could say it is a little bit of a lost art. And you're not seeing near as many calls as you have in the past.
I love the verticality rule.
Yes.
As a defender, you're not penalized for going straight up, and the offensive player is creating all the contact. But I do think there's a time where the contact of the offensive player kind of forces the defense to kind of bring their arms down from time to time. How are the officials making up for that?
Well, Ron, each one seems to judge that situation differently. As I like to argue from time to time when I'm using words like consistency.
Okay.
But, I think a lot of times what you hear referenced is this notion of A to B.
Okay.
Right? And so even if you're, because if I jump up and someone's going full speed, hits me in the chest, right, my hands may just naturally come down a little bit. But I think what they're evaluating is, as a defender, are you jumping straight up, or are you jumping, are you jumping in towards the ball, even though your hands might be straight up, are you jumping towards the ball? If you are, that should be a foul. Whereas if you're jumping straight up and the ball is going into you, even if your hands may bow a little bit, that should not be a foul. But those are judgment calls, right, as oftentimes it gets referred to.
We will talk more about judgment calls and
well
other things. So we continue with our weekly show presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
Where more than 1,700 scientists are working on new treatments and new hope for every form of cancer.
You're making the choice to have the most advanced treatments, many of which were developed right here.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
Union Home Mortgage knows Buckeye fans never leave Ohio State behind. We've helped millions of first-time home buyers get into their dream home through our 1% down payment program. Put as little as 1% down, and UHM tosses in up to 2% on the house. Learn more at UHM.com or call 877-846-4968. Union Home Mortgage Corp is an equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 2229. UHM will contribute up to 2% down, no greater than $2,000 towards a 3% down payment. Home buyers responsible for the remainder of the down payment. This offer is available for the purchase of a primary residence only. For full terms and conditions, visit UHM.com. For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership just got even better. Now you can choose from Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, or ESPN Plus on us when you sign up. Plus, enjoy unlimited free delivery, double fuel points, exclusive offers, and free items. Sign up for a Boost membership today. It's an easier way to save, including new streaming options to relax with while we deliver your groceries. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Your home for Buckeye basketball. This is the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network. Presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
The Foundation is operating a 50-50 raffle at each Ohio State home men's basketball game this season, with proceeds supporting community-based NIL opportunities and the Foundation charities. For more information on how you can participate, visit the Foundation social media channels. We emphasize home because Ohio State will be home for 3 in a row, hosting Washington on Wednesday night. That'll be an 8:30 tip-off. Let's go back to our Union Home Mortgage inbox list of questions, and this kind of covers something we talked about earlier, but we're bringing up again. Sam in Bucyrus. What was the biggest thing your team did collectively to allow for the huge comeback win over Maryland last Thursday?
Did I ever tell you I have family in Bucyrus?
Is there a part of Northwest Ohio you don't have family in?
Yes, there's parts. There are parts that I haven't been to, though.
Well, or played in.
Yeah. No, I think, appreciate that, Sam and Bucyrus. I talked about the toughness and the togetherness, but I also think, when you really start to look and define it, I thought we executed really well. There was great execution, both offensively and defensively. And that, certainly was critical, but unlike last night's game, we were able to get some consecutive stops there down the stretch. We didn't get the stops necessary last night down the stretch, but I thought our execution would be that kind of next thing aside. I don't mean this isn't coaches speak. It really, toughness and togetherness is really, really important, but the execution was good that game.
Yeah, also, too, you're in a great position. You can just give it to Bruce.
Well, listen, I've said this. I don't really feel like it's necessary to overcomplicate it at times when you got guys going, and they're in a groove. At that point, you want to just make sure you provide space, right, and try to create advantages. So, we were able to do that, and a lot of it was ball screen driven in that game specifically. So it was really, really a good thing for us.
And you talk about the style of play that you want. I think it speaks volumes to the flexibility and the freedom that these guys have. I mean, how many times? I mean, this third game that someone's gone over 30 this year and multiple 20-plus games. So is it the pace that you want? I mean, you guys are putting up some good numbers here in your system.
I think it's the pace that fits us.
Okay.
I'd love to be able, I think, to play faster at times, but I'm just not sure, in year one that we're just quite there yet. And I think right now I don't need to be stubborn in that regard, right? Like, we need to do what fits this group best. And I think we're in a good groove in that regard. There's possessions I'd like us to maybe, take advantage of maybe earlier in the clock, but also, I trust our guys, and I think they know that. And I think you're seeing guys play with a lot of confidence. So I don't want to micromanage, guys. I want them to play with freedom. I don't want them looking over their shoulder, scared of making a mistake. I want them to be aggressive. We got to continue to grow. We've, with shot selection, we've improved since our Illinois issue, we'll call it, that game. And, we've gotten better at taking care of the ball. I think that was we've been talking about that, and you see these last few games, it's last handful of games, really, it's been an improvement. So I want guys aggressive. I want them confident. I still believe you got to be able to get some looks without not against a set defense. Mm-hmm. But, I like the pace that we're at right now. I think it fits this team well.
Can what fits best change as the season goes on?
I think so. I think it typically does. I think it's good, especially when you consider, we talked about everything being new, right? That it was going to morph and mold a little bit to some degree to fit as guys emerged. And so we've had to make adjustments because of our lineup issues. So I think our guys have handled it well, and I think we're playing, with a great deal of confidence. And I like that. I think your shooting percentage goes down if you start to hesitate or second guess, and I want us playing to win. We're not a program that will ever play not to lose. Like, we're a program that plays to win, and you got to have an aggressiveness and a confidence to do that.
Well, I like to use this show to really get in the weeds, Coach. I know, typically when you think of scouting, it's about on the defensive end trying to stop the opposition from scoring and being effective, but there's also an element how teams play defense, and they want you to take certain shots, rush shots. So there's a scouting from an offensive standpoint too.
Absolutely. And we spend a great deal of time on that as well. And I think we have versatility where we can – our attack may look different from game to game. We're not – there's some teams that are going to run the same kind of base thing every single game and just keep running it until your defense, regardless of right what if it's a different defensive coverage or not. I think we have an ability, and we have multiple guys especially when we're at full strength, that who can hurt you. So we can find the weaknesses in your defense and be able to exploit those. It just, it's a balance because you can't change who you are every game. That's not what we're talking about. But we're finding, I believe as a coach, you want to find ways to kind of steal possessions for your team, right? You got to manufacture. Like I believe it's my job to manufacture, some points for our team through scouting, through scheming, through sets. Maybe turning defense into offense. It's our job as a staff to take away some points from the opposing team through scouting and things, and then ultimately everything else, majority of the game, right, is the players. Okay, in between that. So I think we've been able to do that well. We got to continue to push the envelope and see if we can steal a couple more baskets or prevent a couple more just through those things. Certainly.
We'll talk more with Coach Diebler when we continue with our weekly show presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Buckeye Nation, Paul Keels here for my other favorite nation, Window Nation. If you're a fan of scoring, you're going to love this. Window Nation is going nuts with an incredible offer just for you. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free plus 0 down and 0 payments with 0 interest for 2 years. And if you order a full house of windows, you'll be part of a full house at the Shoe with tickets to a Buckeye game. Call Window Nation today at 866-90-NATION or visit them online at windownation.com. Tell them Paul sent you for the Buckeyes Full House Special.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get 1 juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, 1 original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Union Home Mortgage knows Buckeye fans never leave Ohio State behind. We've helped millions of first-time home buyers get into their dream home through our 1% down payment program. Put as little as 1% down, and UHM tosses in up to 2% on the house. Learn more at UHM.com or call 877-846-4968. Union Home Mortgage Corp is an equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 2229. UHM will contribute up to 2% down, no greater than $2,000 towards a 3% down payment. Home buyers responsible for the remainder of the down payment. This offer is available for the purchase of a primary residence only. For full terms and conditions, visit UHM.com.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams, the agile, get it done teams, the achieve more together teams, and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
It's Toyota truck and all-wheel drive season with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, including all-wheel drive versions of the best-selling Corolla. Now through March 3rd, get low-rate financing on a Corolla or lease a gas-powered 25 Corolla LE for $229 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS, tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Giant Eagle is teaming up with Cheez-It, Pringles, and Coca-Cola to give one lucky Buckeye fan a VIP basketball experience. Go to ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Giant Eagle to enter for a chance to win 4 tickets with parking to the March 4th home finale against Nebraska, a Buckeye prize pack, a $200 Giant Eagle gift card, and a trip to the head coach's radio show. Enter today at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Giant Eagle for a chance to win. Brought to you by Giant Eagle, Cheez-It, Pringles, and Coca-Cola. Go Bucks!
AgPro has been family owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Your home for Ohio State athletics, The Fan. You're listening to the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Buckeyes are known for paying it forward. That's why Buckeyes Care strives to serve the betterment of our community by positively impacting families across Ohio. Join partners American Electric Power, Kroger, Donato's, the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the James Cancer Hospital, Huntington Bank, and WBNS TV in Columbus in supporting this cause at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/BuckeyesCare. Welcome back to our weekly show. Coach Jake Diebler, Ron in Salina, with a question from our Union Home Mortgage inbox. I know your team has been plagued by illness and injury. What are some of the things that Austin Parks might need to improve on in practice to see some playing time?
Yeah, well, I think Austin's been one of those guys, too, has also missed some time, due to illness or things. So it's consistency. I think, for us, we're constantly, especially as you start to look at the back end of the rotation, as a coach, I want to be able to, you want to know what you're getting, right, when a guy checks in. And, Austin was really, he had some great stretches, and then due to some choppiness, right, like I said, he had missed some time, too, that, people don't always get to see and hear every time someone's out, right? But I think that's the biggest thing is consistency from a defensive standpoint. I like his physicality. I think he's got good physicality and with the size, and I like his feel offensively too. I think that's another thing that he brings to the table.
Because when you look at your bigs, they all bring certain skill sets. Nagovin, he was blessed with. He's 7'1". You don't teach and coach that, right?
No, we did. We coached that too, Ron. I told you he grew like a quarter of an inch to a half inch since he came to Ohio State. That was coaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do some more of that. Scheme is 7'4". But, just talk about some of the differences between those three, Bradshaw, Nagovin, and also Austin.
Yeah.
Austin Parks.
I think, all three of those guys, certainly different levels of physicality, right, different levels of athleticism. What I like about all of them is they play hard. That you don't really do well in this program if you don't play hard, right? Like, that's a staple for us. But I think all three of those guys play hard. And I think all three of them, one in the area they need to improve is they get sped up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Get a little sped up into paint, need to be a little more poised. I think I would say majority of that has to do with their inexperience. But different levels of physicality, athleticism, certainly. Different, maybe they're all skilled. Like, they're all capable of making jump shots. They're all capable of passing, different levels. But I think what they have in common is they play really, really hard, and then they need to slow down a little bit when they get the ball inside.
When you talk about experience, it's interesting because you go to Illinois and you look at their freshmen, but they're not really freshmen because they played in a different league overseas. So,
yeah.
So they're not really the traditional.
Right. You look at the two guys that came over here from Europe. Highly experienced and established players, and that's translated obviously. It translated really well in Big Ten play. And Yvonne came in with some experience. I think his development. He's not as far along in his basketball development as those two guys are who came over, but I think I'm really encouraged by what I've seen from Yvonne and what he's going to be able to do moving forward. Really, really encouraged.
Wednesday, you have Washington in. What can you tell us about Washington?
Yeah, I think, again, playing their best ball of the year right now. Coming off, they won at Minnesota, who's, been playing well, and then just beat Northwestern at home. So it starts with Asabor inside. He's a really good player, really good defender as well. And I think they got multiple guys out there who are capable of knocking down shots and from the three-point range, they do a good job of attacking the paint, and they change up their defense. So it's this week, we have to protect our home court. They're coming in with some momentum, and we need to play at the level we're capable of. That's going to be the message. Is we have to put our best foot forward. We got to bring our best stuff and get ready to defend our home court Wednesday night.
And tell people, don't look at this record. Yes, they had a stretch where they lost some games, but a bunch of them were close.
Well,
going either way.
And a lot on the road, too. A lot on the road with the travel from the West Coast.
Jake, thanks as always, and we'll see you Wednesday night here at the arena.
All right, guys, thanks. Go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to today's show, presented by Roosters and brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance, the American Dairy Association Mideast, and by Credit Union of Ohio. Join us Wednesday night as Ohio State hosts Washington. Our pregame coverage begins at 7:45 p.m. For Skip Mossick, Colin Behringer, Ron Stokes, and Coach Jake Diebler, this is Paul Keels. Thanks for listening. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron, look what I invented.
Jerry, you're wearing a cape.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What is it that you promise our customers, Aaron?
We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Do you know who does that, Aaron?
We do?
Superheroes do that, Aaron. Superheroes!
I'm guessing you make capes for everyone?
That's right. Every plumber, electrician, and HVAC technician. But I'm not done, Aaron. I'm not done.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Now I'm inventing jetpacks so we can fly to the rescue like proper superheroes. Now say your line again.
We come through for you when you need us to?
No, say it like this. We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry.
Yeah, Aaron?
How about we put those capes in the closet until you get the jetpacks perfected?
We'll look right when we take flight.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Morning, Paula.
Morning, Ron.
Another day in Adminville, am I right?
What are you working on? Oh!
You okay?
Your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close all those tabs and open just one, EasyCater.com. Online ordering from local restaurants, plus tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
One tab to rule them all.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at EasyCater.com.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.